Let me start with not what's trending, but let's talk about what really matters, what should be keeping you up at night, but maybe isn't because it's not on your feed, or at least it's not yet. As anti-Semitism is spreading its civilizational poison all over America, as Tom Homan yesterday warned of another 9/11 style attack on the homeland, as the Democrats strangely keep fighting for the rights of those who are literally spreading hate, violence, and death in our colleges and our streets, as Congress remains fast asleep, yet you're wide awake every night, kept awake by your growing debt and shrinking dollar. Let me share the latest from Jamie Dimon that nobody I have seen has shared with you yet. It was a talk that he gave at the Reagan National Defense Forum in California. Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, one of the largest and most influential financial institutions on earth, he delivered a warning. And it wasn't about coming interest rates, not about inflation curves or crypto adoption or anything else. I want you to hear what he said about Bitcoin. Do we have that audio, please?
I was saying we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling guns, bullets, tanks, planes, drones, rare earths. We know what we need to do. This is not a mystery.
Did you say stockpiling Bitcoin?
I said we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Okay.
We should be stockpiling bullets.
Okay.
The military guys tell you that, if there's a war in the South China Sea, we have missiles for 7 days. Okay, come on. I mean, we can't say that with a straight face and think that's okay.
Do you notice what the reporter did on stage? She was trying to do a gotcha. You're saying we should stock Bitcoin? Oh, okay. All right. She missed the whole point. He's referencing the Pentagon data saying we only have enough precision-guided missiles for 7 days of sustained conflict. I don't know. Does that sound like a problem for anybody? Let that settle in. A week. That's what stands between deterrence and desperation if war would break out in the South China Sea. 7 days. And remember what I shared with you yesterday, the drone bombing in Ukraine or by Ukraine that wiped out an estimated 1/3 of the Russian nuclear strategic air command. 1/3 of Russia's nuclear strategic air command. Ukraine, they did that. That's a country that's almost in third world status, no real military left, and certainly no missiles. They did it with drones. Imagine what could be done here with open borders and enemies like China and Iran, enemies all over the world. Now, I want you to understand, Jamie Dimon is not a guy that usually deals in hyperbole. He's not a man who chases the headlines. His words, and he knows this, move global markets. The good news is on this one, nobody will pay attention to him because nobody is interested in telling you the truth on how dire our situation actually is. His silence in most cases is his statement. That's the way they work at those levels. So when he breaks that silence and he does it this bluntly, you better believe it's calculated. Now, most of his peers are still peddling ESG slideshows and blockchain buzzwords, but Dimon stepped into the national stage and said, we need to get real and we need to get ready. And here's the thing. He's not talking to hedge funds or Pentagon brass. He knows. Look at her response. Oh, you're talking Bitcoin? We should all stockpile. He's talking directly to you. You. This isn't about rare earth or tanks. This is about a new era of scarcity. That's what you have to grasp from what Jamie Dimon was actually talking about. He is saying there's a reckoning with reality that most Americans and CEOs and everybody else are not prepared for. Play cut 2 of this, please.
You are going to see a crack in the bond market, okay? It is going to happen. And I tell this to my regulators, some of who are in this room, I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic. We'll be fine. We'll probably make more money, and then some of my friends will tell me that we like crises because it's good for JPMorgan Chase. Not really. I just don't know if it's going to be a crisis in 6 months or 6 years. And I'm hoping that we change both the trajectory of the debt and the ability of market makers to make markets. Yeah, it's coming. It's just part of all the stuff we talked about. And unfortunately, it may be that we need that to wake us up. It's an unfortunate thing.
Cut 3, please.
And all that. Do you think people in rural cities, do you think people in inner cities thought they were getting anything? Do you think that those people think that the American government is fair and competent and that this was in their best interest? Their schools don't work. They're not getting the skills they need. And you heard that just now. So we got to acknowledge, and I also call it blue tape. Because, Republicans, you generally don't like red tape. You understand the devastation of it. But, most Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it so confusing you can't even meet the rules, so you get punished and fined afterwards. Celebrate our virtues: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, equal opportunity, family, God, country. And you can acknowledge the flaws that we have, which are extraordinary, what we did to the black population for years. Don't denigrate the great things of this country, because those are two different things. If you have in any team, if you put a team on the field and the team's torn apart, they're going to lose. And that's kind of us right now. We're not a team anymore, and we don't collaborate. We don't talk that much to each other. Deal with our policies, and this is the enemy within. We've got to fix our permitting, our regulations, our immigration, our taxation, which I think they're on their way. We have to fix our inner city schools, our healthcare system.
Okay, so let's unpack this here for a second. His dismissal of Bitcoin, first of all, not a continuation of his longstanding skepticism. If you listen to all of the things he was saying, this is something much more urgent. In a time of instability, Bitcoin becomes an abstraction. It has no mass. It has no utility. Now, I'm a Bitcoin guy. I believe in Bitcoin. But Bitcoin depends on electricity and the internet and a collective belief. Bullets, they don't care if you believe in bullets or not. Fuel, doesn't matter if you believe in fuel or not. Food, these are not ideas. These are lifelines. Do you hear that what he was saying? Bullets, fuel, food, lifelines. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not, suddenly a patriotic prepper in chief. What he is doing is giving voice to something that the elites all know, but usually whisper behind closed doors. And he's saying it out loud now. The veneer, we learned this after 9/11. Remember how on 9/11, 9/12, 9/13, we realized, oh my gosh, this thing could collapse in a heartbeat. We all knew the veneer of civilization, the veneer of order is so thin. Even the largest company in the world is dangerously exposed. The largest economy in the world, ours, exposed. I want you to look at the numbers here. 80% of our rare earth minerals come from China. Basically everything from missile guidance to smartphones. 80% of it comes from China. What happens if they want to shut that off? What happens if we go to war? What happens if we just don't have the fuel to run, across the ocean? What happens to us? Our military, recruitment shortfalls time and time again, outdated infrastructure. I mean, how many trillions of dollars have we spent in the last 20 years on infrastructure projects? Look at our airports. Look at our munitions stockpile. It wouldn't last a long weekend if trouble really happened. And cyber attacks. One single cyber attack could shut down the grid for weeks. And what happens? See, here's the thing that you have to hear from Jamie Dimon. He is not saying prepare out of paranoia. He's saying it out of pattern recognition. Pattern recognition. You need to get good at pattern recognition. The world is no longer stable. And it hasn't been, I don't know if you've noticed this, for a while. But most people, all your neighbors, they're too distracted to notice. Cakes and circuses. Dimon went on to blast the, regulatory obsession, in order to make life difficult. Did you hear what he just said? Quote, Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it more confusing. So you can't even meet the rules. You'll get punished and fined afterward. For the last 40 years, we have lived on the assumption that convenience was safety, that digital meant durable, that global markets meant good. But history doesn't move in a straight line. It turns, it turns around sometimes. It bends, it recoils. And in that recoil, the essentials of survival never change. Shelter, energy, food, protection, human trust in one another. That's the most important. We don't have it. What his message was very clear. It cuts against every modern comfort we've built our lives around. Here's a giant bank saying you've built your life and we've built our life around things that are not real. He's not saying abandon innovation. He's saying don't bet your future on intangibles. So his solution is the same solution we've been talking about here on this program forever. Celebrate our virtues, celebrate our freedoms, our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, our freedom of enterprise, equal opportunity, family, God, and country. Those are his words. And acknowledge the flaws of the country, but don't denigrate the great things that this country has done. They're two very different things. And start talking to one another. So here's what I want you to consider. What would you do if the lights went out? Not for a storm, but because a server farm in Taiwan was hit. What would you trade your Bitcoin for at the grocery store shelves if they were empty? What does wealth mean in a world where your phone doesn't work and your bank is a blinking error message? What does that wealth mean? This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about grow up, America. Maturity. We are long overdue for a serious conversation about self-reliance in this country. Not the kind you buy in bulk from a website, the kind you live through community, preparation, clarity, intelligence, critical thinking. Yes, have food and water, not because you're afraid, but because you're a responsible human being. Know your neighbors, not because you're social, but because you need each other if systems fail. Understand your rights not because you just want to use them, but because you know someday you may have to use them. I want you to know this whole message from him, I believe, and definitely from me, is not about war. It's not warning you about war or famine or anything else. It's warning you, wake up. Wake up. Ignore what's happening today at your own peril. We've spent far too many days and years now worshiping the screen and the stock ticker and the illusion that problems can be innovated away. But history has a really brutal way of humbling people and civilizations that trade resilience for comfort. This is a moment that demands discernment. Are you living in a way that will actually allow you to survive real shocks? Or are you, like so many people, including me on many things, chained to the conveniences that will vanish overnight if the world sneezes? Jamie Dimon said it very clearly, and let me just say it again. Bullets over Bitcoin, tangible over theoretical, preparation over posturing. The man who runs the most powerful bank in the world is not hoarding hashtags. He's stockpiling reality. Shouldn't we all be doing that?